Hello, everybody. Thank you for viewing or joining our Toast webinar today. We're talking about quick data infrastructure for distributed analytics. Thank you to those that are perhaps watching this in replay. Thank you to those partners, customers, employees in the larger data and analytics community. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your patronage. And for those of you that we haven't had a chance to work together, we'd love to be able to chat with you about your individual needs. But thank you for watching this webinar today. This webinar is in a series of webinars related to Toast. You definitely don't have to view all of these prior webinars in order to get the most out of this webinar. If you want to learn more about Toast and really how to maximize your investment in Toast from a data and analytics perspective, feel free to check out some of these other webinars. Otherwise, let's jump into it here. I'm Mike Jellin, been in the data and analytics space for several decades now, really helping customers get the most out of their investment in their data ecosystem. So taking that information, turning it into data, but really taking that data and getting it to the next level of whether that's actionable insights, predictive, using AI in order to interact with that data, combining your main data source with multiple data sources so you can look across your organization or your business, and specifically in the restaurant and hospitality ecosystem. So when you think of data today, there is no shortage of data. Taking that data, turning it into information, and then turning it into actionable insights, that is the real challenge. Data itself, it's chaotic. There's so much data and so many different applications. Those applications might be ones you subscribe to, ones that you just get data exports from. Lots and lots of data. And also think of invoices or manifests of, all right, here's what this shipment came in within this particular restaurant. Did I actually get everything? Did the appropriate person check off that I got X boxes of chicken, X gallons of cooking oil, X gallons of what have you? So that data is manually generated, but there's data everywhere, and you have processes in order to streamline where you can. You may have reached some limitations of, oh my goodness, I don't know how to connect these different data sources because of perhaps some technology limitations, or you just don't have enough time in the day. It's not a high enough priority. But if someday you could be able to get that deeper insight to say, am I ordering too much of a particular product? Am I ordering not enough? And instead of waiting until, wow, I keep running out, or my line cooks are saying I don't have enough of A, B, and C, or maybe I have too much and I need to come up with creative ways in order to offload different food items in order to not have to have that go to waste. So lots of different things that you're constantly looking at. And also you're trying to figure out, how do I have as high or as good of customer experience as possible? How do I get new customers? How do I know I'm serving and have a loyal following? How am I giving back and making sure I'm part of the community, not just a business that has a shingle out saying, yes, come dine with me, give me your money and I'll give you some food. That's not what you're looking to do with your restaurant, whether you have multiple locations, one location, or you're geographically dispersed across the country or within a region. You want to be part of that local community, bettering that individual community, because that is where your workers are located and where they're from. That's where your customers are. And what better way in order to be part of that community by having you provide real intrinsic people value to that local area that you serve. At the end of the day, leveraging data to be able to say, how am I doing versus gut check, gut feel. even if you've been in the restaurant industry for 30 years, yes, there's a lot of gut feel things that you just know because of, unfortunately, some painful lessons you've learned over your career. You may have had great mentors that have also helped, given you tidbits of information. And for those of you that have been in the industry for that many years, or your restaurant has been, open for, over 5 years, an individual location, you've figured out a lot of things, but there's more things you can figure out about deepening your relationship with the community and expanding that relationship as well. And data is your vehicle to do that. However, it goes back to, data is very chaotic because it isn't everywhere and is in so many different places. And then how do you bring it together? So that's when we talk about streamlining your data strategy. Yes, you have all of these different systems and applications, and really figuring out a way in order to collect that data on a daily or weekly basis, centralize that data, and then visualize that data, make sense of that data. That could be on a dashboard of some nice looking reports. It could be just a raw data dump that brings data together from multiple sources. And that's what you need. It really comes down to what works best for you and what you're looking to do, not a one size fits all from a visualization and what information, but there is a technical component of collecting that data into that single source of truth. That there is a technical exercise there. And really, that technical exercise is very easy and straightforward. Leveraging a platform such as datalakehouse.io allows you to go collect that data, centralize that data, and then for you to build those dashboards and those insights that you really are looking for within your organization and your data. Because you think of, from a restaurant operator perspective, lots of wonderful people. You're a people person at the end of the day. You understand your business is, sure, there's food, but there's a dining experience, and you want that food, depending upon who you are within your organization, you want that food to speak to your personality, to your culture, to your beliefs. And you want that to be an experience for your customers, not just a transaction. Transaction, great, just high volume, not a lot of loyalty, just keep churn, churn, churn. Take that to the next level. So you're focusing on that experience. Yes, your orders are getting placed and they flow through Toast. All right, how did the person pay for it? Did that order actually come in between that dine-in experience, or is it a third party online ordering that food or that order came in? And how are they ordering within your location or within your store or restaurant? Are they dining more at the bar compared to the dining area, compared to a patio? Or maybe you have multiple floors within your organization or within your restaurant. There's a lot going on as to the restaurant operations, that Toast is a key component to that, but it's not the only component. It's not the main component. Yes, from a data perspective, it is the main component, but that dining experience, the end customer, I come into your restaurant, I don't know about Toast. Maybe I do when it comes time to pay and I give you my credit card or my monies and have that transaction table side. Perhaps I see Toast at that point. But I, as a customer, I don't know. I don't see that. I don't really, quite frankly, need or care to see that it is Toast. Toast is a critical operational application for you, that ends up being a lot of the tracking from an inventory, transaction, sales, profitability, some of that tax reporting perspective. So definitely very key to your organization, but one of those unsung heroes in the overall dining experience. When you think of from a point of sale, we talked about some of the things that the point of sale is really good at. All right, I'm getting food quantities and other perishable things are being handled through Toast. Great. Well, there is the whole, from an inventory perspective, you might be using a different application or service for that. If you have a buyer of your major food items that you're getting, Perhaps that's a different application. Whether they're integrated in a Toast or not is relative to that vendor that you're working with. And thinking about, all right, great, all this data is going into Toast or a point of sale, but that data is typically given to several folks within an organization or within a restaurant. Usually the restaurant manager, if you have a higher level tier, because you have multiple restaurant locations or maybe have multiple brands that you're servicing, and to bubble that up to from the corporate perspective, great. However, it doesn't necessarily tell you the full story of, well, how did those folks get into or find out about me? Is it because I'm running some sort of an ad or a coupon for this week? Are they loyal to the coupon? Or are they loyal to you because they have that emotional connection, that dining experience that speaks to them, and that's why they keep coming back? So when you think of getting Toast, consolidating that data into that central location, Data Lakehouse is that vehicle for there. So you can put that into that central location. For some of you, putting that into a data cloud of some kind, you might be thinking about doing that. You might have heard of other restaurant operators doing something similar. Lots of technologies out there that you can put that data into. Obviously, for some of you might say that I'm not big enough, I don't know where I would put that data. That's okay. We're here to help and help you navigate through that, because there's a lot of things that you can do once you have that data centralized. You can visualize it to have dashboards and some of these reports. You can integrate it with other third-party applications that you have. And just even perhaps you have, if you're a very large restaurant operator, the need to send data to other applications. So whether that is through SFTP, other corporate operation systems, there's a lot of things that you can do with that data, but you need a vehicle in order to help facilitate that outside of Toast itself. So that's when you think of, all right, great, I have a lot of data in my different sources, whether that's through not only Toast, but you have some ad buying that you're doing through Google ads, Facebook ads, perhaps on Twitter. You have Market Man. You're leveraging a Restaurant 365 that helps you do a lot of these things that perhaps you're on today. But really, it's all about the data of how you're maximizing, how you're leveraging that data. These applications don't necessarily talk to each other, don't even know about each other by default. And so you need a mechanism in order to help with that translation and the data mashing together, so that you're allowed, so that you do have that ability to look across your organization, look across these different applications to understand what is the real customer journey and their customer experience with my restaurant or restaurants. And that's easier said than done. And getting there, that's where Data Lakehouse comes in and helps you get there very quickly. So when you think of, well, how quickly, within an hour's time frame, you connected to Toast, some of your other data sources, and you're off in building the reports, building that analysis, seeing your data in a new light that you haven't seen it before. Especially when you think of that gut feel. All right, great. There's a lot of things that and understand from a gut feel perspective, but the data is, one, going to be a validation of that gut feel, but then two, there's gonna be other things that you didn't necessarily think about, or perhaps your gut feel is a little bit off and it needs to be tweaked, relative to what that looks like. But imagine a fast-growing restaurant brand or a chain even. All right, the ability to bring on, if you're a franchisor and you're bringing on lots of franchisees, like, all right, great. How are you able to get the information to them? How are they performing? What is their gross margins, their net profitability? What are be able to predict and look out to say, okay, based upon some of the historical trends, here's where we see, based upon the data, where you will be evolving to in the coming weeks and the coming months so that you can prepare. And some of that preparation is from a hiring perspective. Make sure you have the right people at the right time of day. Are you going to add another chunk of hours so that you can serve an earlier part of the day or later part of the day relative to your customer base? Are you trying to get into and attract a new customer base? Perhaps you're thinking of, all right, great, I want 16 to 30-year-olds. I want to figure out, well, what is their dining experience, or what do they want the interaction to be? All right, later at night, a lot of times those folks are eating later at night in general for their third meal of the day, or they are looking for a late night snack or maybe a fourth meal in the day. And to be able to cater to say, well, what if we were to do that? What does that mean from the amount of inventory? What does that mean from the head count and the cost that I'm going to have in order to make sure, is it worth it? Or I need to do a trial and say, all right, how do I know after a 3-month period of time, am I seeing a benefit to these changes that I've made in my restaurant operations? And to be able to quantify that and break that down into time of day of week, the right head count, the right inventory, there's a science to that. Yes, there is the art from the gut feel perspective, but the science is what's, you want to make sure you're maximizing your revenue and, more importantly, your profitability. Thank you for viewing this webinar. We'd love to chat with you more about your individual kind of situation, your restaurant group that you have. Feel free to reach out to us on any of the social media or connect to us directly on our website or email. Thank you again, and have a good rest of your day.